Hi, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my studio. Today I am going to be showing you a fun little card, but before I did, I wanted to remind you that during the month of February, everybody that places an order with me that is over $100 is going to go into a drawing for this fun hostess set. It's called Little Ladybug. I have a couple of tutorials up on my channel with it. The only other way that you can get it is to host a $300 workshop or to place an order that's $300 or more. But if you place a $100 order with me in February, then you'll go into the drawing for it. So it's got some fun dies, so you'll want to get it if you can, so you can get the dies that go with it, because those both of them are a limited edition. Today, the card that I'm going to show you, I'm going to be using one of the bundles that's from the Peaceful Poppy Suite. And I'm going to be using the one, they're a little bit confusing. So I'm going to be using the one that has the dies that are mostly the flowers, and it's the stamp set that is mostly the words. So it's the Peaceful Moments bundle. So the stamp set is mostly the words, and then the dies, I'm going to use all of the dies except for the one that I've already done a tutorial for. That is kind of like a window. I'm not using that die, but I'm going to use all the rest of them. So it's a super cute little card. It's really easy. So what we're going to do, I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper. And I have some pear pizzazz, and I have cut it, it's 11 by 4 1/4 because of the way I want to tie my ribbon on here. So that's the main reason that I have cut it this direction. So just fold it in half. It's just the opposite way that you would normally open a card. And it just makes it easier for the way I'm going to tie the really pretty ribbon on here. And then I have some of the beautiful paper that's in this suite. And I'm going to have to cover up this really pretty side on both of them because I'm going to go for this side. So we'll do that in a second. And then this is not quite a half a sheet, almost a half a sheet of shimmery white cardstock. So first we're just going to run all of our dies. And like I said, I'm going to use all of the dies that come in this set except for that one that's kind of a window-ish. We're making this card at camp. That's why it's a little bit less than a half a sheet, just because they don't need the full half sheet, and because it's shimmer white, there's no reason to use more than you have to. So you can layer all of these dies right on here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the big ones on first because there's a bunch of little ones, and then you can just fill up the extra space with the little ones. So there are flowers and leaves, and then flower centers. So just get these all on here, however you want. And if I need to squish them around to get them all on, then I will. But just start with the big ones. They cut through real easy, so there's no need to try to get any of them in the center. Now that we've got these little ones, just kind of fill them in. I'm going to give you a little tip because there's these little rose buds, but there's only, or like rosebud leaves, and there's only one rose bud. But we're going to be able to use a couple of these scraps that fall out, so you only have to cut them once. So see, you can see this is plenty of cardstock. So if you have a half a sheet, all it does is run it through and chance it your shimmer white cardstock getting dirty. If your plates are have like black cardstock or anything in them. So there we go. So just run those through. It just takes one pass, and this is just if you have the standard cutting plates. This is just regular old one pass. One pass through. And that will give us plenty of beautiful flowers to work with. And I'm doing the shimmer white. That way you don't have to mess with a bunch of different colors. You just have everything that you need. I'm just going to keep them on there, and then we'll work from on there just to keep it a little bit easier. So we'll put this here, pop them back so they're ready for camp. Some of them are going to stick and some of them won't. So I'm going to try to divide these up. My cat wants me to play. He's got his ball. So these pieces right here are some of the ones that I can use. That's scrap, but this one here looks like one that I can use. So I just need 2 little pieces that I'll be able to cut. I think I'm gonna pull most of them out of that though. So this scrap over here, I'll just put here. It's got flowers. Leaves, and I'm just gonna pull these out and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've just pulled all of these out. You can see you have a little bit of extra, so if you want to get a couple of extra of the little leaves, you could, but there's plenty for the card. So I've kind of just laid them in the places that I want to paint them. And this is a nice thing to do if you want to, I mean, you have the option of doing all these in different color cardstock. That is an option. This one I'm just gonna do, I like the way the shimmer cardstock looks. I want to try to mimic the watercolor style of this paper. So I did tell you that here's 2 pieces of scrap. So you see you get these little leaves right here, and they are where you can put a bud, but it only cuts 1 bud. So I've got these little leaves here that popped out of the middle of this. They're just the scrap, and you can just use these perfectly to be a little bud. So just kind of trim around it. The bottom can be ugly because it's just going to get buried. So now we have a bud and some more scrap. And then just take one of these and do the same thing. In fact, you can just kind of chop this one off right here. And then you have another bud. There's no reason to have to get more. And then I'm just going to use one of my very favorite techniques. And if you follow my videos, you know that I love to do this. These are just aqua painters that are filled with mostly refills and then a little bit of water. And I have had the same refills in these for ages. So I have a limited amount of colors, but it just so happened that the colors I have go really well with this suite. So this is pear. So just brush it on here. You can do this with shimmer cardstock or with watercolor cardstock. Any of the other cardstocks, you'll have to be careful with the amount of water that you put on it, because it could buckle the water. But it will give a nice watercolor look, and it dries really quickly. So there's our pear. I just like to hold them like this when they open, because if they've sat for a while, sometimes you get a little spray. So there's the pear. It's also hard. I've tried lots of different ways to mark these, but all of the labels fall off. So there's another green that I don't think I need. I wasn't real sure which of these by just looking at them. So I'll put that one there in case I do need it. This looks like it's olive, and those are the 2 greens that I wanted. Or moss. I think I have moss in here. Yeah, this is mellow moss. And you don't have to get the whole thing. You can have a little bit of places where it's darker, some places where maybe you don't get any color, because again, we're mimicking this paper. So just brush this on. You can see now why I have scrap paper. And you can see this one, they leak just a little bit. Not if you're using them frequently, it's when they sit for a little bit. And it's just when they pull out right here. This looks like it's poppy. And by doing this method, it gets the color on here really quickly. There's lots of ways you can get color on your cardstock, obviously. But this gets a nice rich color. Like, look how pretty this poppy is. And it gets it on here really quickly. And it doesn't take hardly any ink refill to do it. But it also gives you as many colors of refill as you have. You have that many colors then of shimmery cardstock. Or watercolor cardstock. I'm gonna do another video I have ready for the same suite, using these a couple of different ways. Because once you've put your refills in these, you really need to think of lots of ways to use them. But don't worry, I have lots of ways because I use them all the time. So this poppy is really, really pretty. And you can get it dark. If you want it dark, you can just keep going. because it's shimmer cardstock and it has that coating, it's not going to do anything to the cardstock. With the watercolor cardstock, you really can go for a really long time. Then this is Cocoa Rose, which I'm not sure is a color on there. Maybe it is, but it matches well enough. So I want this to be a little bit lighter, so I'm going to kind of brush it on quicker. Just kind of swash it on here. And then on my 3 little buds, do the same. Make sure you get the top of them, because one part's the top and one part's going to be hidden down underneath. Which that must mean my last one is blackberry. I have, I think, maybe 11 colors of these. It's one of those things, sometimes, you know, especially when you're a demonstrator, you have an order go in and you need to add a couple things. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't need anything. And then later I'm like, why didn't I add a couple more aqua painters? Because then I could have a couple more colors. What I tend to add is snail refill, because, you know, we always need that. Snail refill or the polka dot tulle ribbon, because that's my favorite. So you can see these first ones I've done are dry, so it just takes them a minute to dry. So just squish those out of the way, and then we're almost done with this card. I'm not going to stamp the inside, because at camp I'm going to let them choose, because the stamps that go on the inside you can do just about any occasion, because that's how they come. So you're just going to take this. I've just cut them in strips of almost 5.5, because this paper is so pretty. I do want it to cover most of the card. And do this little stripy pattern over here, and I know I'm going to have to flip this again and cover up this. It's such pretty paper. So you will want to go to my website. In addition to spending $100 and going into the drawing for the Ladybug, every month I have thank you specials. My January ones were a little bit late getting out because I was sick. I had the flu, and I did not want to touch anything that I was sending to anybody when there was any chance I had germs. So it might get to you a couple of days late, but at least it will not come with any added germ things on it, because nobody wants what I had. It was awful. Okay, so now you're just going to layer this, and you're going to start with your biggest pieces. And you can see they're already dry. They're not like they're touch dry. They're still damp, but you can work with it. So I've got these 2 flowers first. I'm gonna try to not cover up as much of this side as I am, because like I'm already losing this flower here and it's really pretty. So just kind of work with where you want to go. And then on these pieces here, just stick your adhesive in the middle. I've got some glue dots, and after I get it all stuck with this, I'm going to add some glue dots just to make sure everything's kind of on there. Then these you can you can twist them. So you can get it so it goes exactly where it goes, or you can be a little artsy and just kind of go that. I kind of like that look. So I'm not going to try to put mine exactly over the top. I'm just going to angle them. Like that. And then we're going to work from the largest leaves down to the smaller. And again, I'm just going to go first and stick with my snail. And then I will add some glue dots just to make sure everything's stuck well on there. And every time you make this card, you could put all of these flowers in a different spot. And it just kind of depends on how your paper is over here and how those flowers, like how you want to not cover them or how you do want to cover them. And you could do this if you were having like going to a wedding. You could also get some of our other designer series papers out from the past, because these flowers are generic enough that they'll match a lot of them. Okay, so now we have these little things here that we've made so see, you just put that up in there, and then you have a little bud. So what you want to do is put your adhesive on the back of this, and then just take your bud in case you need to trim it. And just hack off anything that might overstick on those homemade ones. And just stick that there. And then we have the one that's got the longest stem on it. That's the one I'm gonna put the real bud in. That way I have a little bit, I can put it higher, excuse me, and not worry about it. Let's see, that's the real one. This way he can stick up a little higher. But sometimes running things through the die cutting machine, for whatever reason, isn't not my favorite. So if I can go ahead and get everything I needed out of the one pass, and that's perfectly, there's nothing wrong with that, as opposed to having to send that one more little bud through, I'm fine to have that be what I needed. Okay, now we have these little centers. Which just give a nice little pop of color. And you could color this one. I've gone back and forth on whether or not I want it to be this color. And then I do like it because it just gives it a little bit more dimension. So we're almost done. You can take your glue dots. Now I'm not going to spend a bunch of time doing this. At camp I will get them to, and I will do it after I'm done talking to you. But just take a couple glue dots, and any place where you feel like it might need it just a little bit more stability, just add a glue dot. That way the leaves will have some height and dimension, but they're not going to fall off your card. So see right here, this one's, they're barely hanging on, but by sticking these two together, now they're not going to fall off your card. And this is the seam binding that comes with this suite, and this is why I chose to put my card together this direction. Seam binding doesn't have a lot of stability to it. It's really pretty, and it goes well with this style of card. But now I can just open my card this way. If it wasn't upside down, I could have flipped it back around. But now you can just tie your card here, and your card will just flip open. Just stick one of those fun greetings that comes with this bundle on the inside. But these flowers do not, the dies do not cut out the flowers that are in the stamp set that are in the other bundle. They're different sizes. So they're two different little stamp sets. Just add a little bit of fun crinkly bow, maybe. This is something I normally take my glasses off to do, but I hadn't taken them off before I started making the little bow. And I think it's just in my head that my glasses need to come off, because I don't even think I'm really looking at it. There we go. Just kind of open this all up and then trim it off. Sharpen my scissors. There we go. Super cute. This one has a little bit of a longer bow. And every time your flowers will just be placed according to where you place them with how the paper looks. Your watercolor will be a little bit different, but I hope you like that. It's a beautiful, beautiful suite. So if you're not part of my email list, make sure you join that. That way you always know what my monthly specials are, but you can find them on my website every month too. So have a great day. Bye.